Hi, everybody. So we're going to look quickly at pivot tables in Excel. Now, Excel is a little bit more robust program to use things like pivot tables than Google Sheets, but I did not want everyone to have to ensure that they had Excel. So you are welcome to use Google Sheets. Google Sheets does have a video along with it as well within the assignment in Canvas. So we're going to look at this really quickly. Please take some time to make sure you read the instruction sheet, the hints and thoughts, and then all of our data that we're going to use for the pivot table is actually here on this hotel financial deets tab. Okay, so this is all of our information. So a couple things to keep in mind. Pivot tables really allow us to summarize a lot of information in Excel or another data source very quickly. So having information in Excel, but then if we look at this, we'll notice if I go up to the very top, I've got some accounts, some asset, liability, or owner's equity type of accounts, and then debits and credits, which are indicated by debits and positive, credits as negatives or parentheses in this case. So, if you look at this, we're starting on line 5, and if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, I have, 8,900 lines of data. So that's a little bit more difficult to just kind of look at and get a snapshot or an idea about. And we definitely would have a hard time creating financial statements in this manner. So what we're going to do is walk through quickly how to create pivot tables. So the first and most important thing is really kind of sometimes Excel might know where all your data is at, but it's always best to just highlight everything. So I'm going to start at the very bottom or the end of my data, and I'm going to use the Shift key. So I'm going to push down Shift, move it over here to the right with my arrow key, and then I'm actually just going to move all the way back up to the top. Now, yes, there are some shortcuts. Some people are really good at shortcuts, but I'm just going to show you kind of how to do this without the shortcuts. So once you've moved up, go ahead then and before you click anything, click the Shift key again, and then click on Account and see how it's going to bring that all the way up. Click on Type, and then click on DRCR, Debit and Credit. So that's going to highlight everything for us. So don't click anywhere. But if you scroll down now, you see all of our data is highlighted. So we need that to be highlighted. The next step is to insert the pivot table. And so if we click up here in our data, or I'm sorry, in our menu, we can find some of these data tools. And so we're going to use the pivot table, and we are going to do from a table or range, because that's what we've created is this table range. And it already is telling me, oh, this is what you want to use. So I've highlighted all of my data previously from these cells. And I love putting it in a new worksheet because I want my details of my data to be separate. So click OK. And now I've got this blank thing. And you might say, okay, well, where did everything go? Well, all of our data is still here on the Financial Deets tab. But if you click on Sheet 1, you can even rename this. If you double click it, you put in pivot table. You could call it financial statements. You can call it whatever you'd like, okay? But the idea now is that we want to choose our fields, and it's just those 3, but we've got to arrange them right, okay? Because right now this is not very helpful. But what we can do is we can move this type up, and it automatically puts everything in the exact order that we need for our accounting equation. And that's going to help us create our financial statements. And so now we've essentially created a pivot table. So the one thing that you can do if you would like is you can format these so you can see the numbers with commas, which is very helpful. And we're not going to use any decimals. And so what we want to do is actually just remove those. And now you're all set to work on your financial statements. A couple of key things: use the hints and thoughts as you're working through the financial statements. You can use the Lowe's examples. You could find something on the internet under the SEC website, or you can simply just use the information that's in your textbook to create your balance sheet and your income statement. A couple of other things to note on this pivot table. The one thing that's really important in accounting is that we keep everything in balance. So you'll see that the grand total down here is 0. That means that our assets equal our liabilities plus our owner's equity. And I'm going to show you this cool thing. If I click here on liabilities and I push the control key and push owner's equity, See, it gives me a sum down here, and I can see that that equals my assets. So I hope this helps get you started. If you have any questions, please reach out.